Morning Uganda Extra.
When Winston Churchill arrived in Uganda, he looked at the weather as an explorer at that time and looked at the rain, observed the sunshine, looked at the green, and he said, well, this is the pearl of Africa. It is raining. Just looked through after one show, and outside, yes, it had rained. Now one would wonder, you know, yesterday it was really very hot. In some parts, it could be raining in Kampala. You find maybe in Entebbe it's not, or just a few meters away from the metropolitan, you may find it's not raining, or the central business district within it may not be raining. So what a country that we have, gifted by nature, blessed with wonderful weather, and here we are as Ugandans. All we need to do is take advantage of those God-given beauties of our country. So for our brothers and sisters, find somewhere to plant anything, even if you just plant beans within your compound, in seeds in town, do modern agriculture. If you reside within the city, I've seen people who have vegetables, I've seen people who have one or two, but they, at the end of the day, they will tell you, I've eaten matoke from my one or two suckers that I planted. So let's take advantage of this rain and plant something, because you're in a country where many would yearn to be because of those God-given and natural conditions that many don't have. 2 rain seasons, then that good sunshine. We should not just lament, but take advantage of it. Once again, I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Extra, an extension of Good Morning Uganda. Now, this morning I have a very interesting topic, I must say, and a very important topic as well, because we are going to be looking at travel documents. To be more specific, how to acquire a passport. This has been a problem for many Ugandans. Many have successfully gotten their passports. Others have had a number of issues. Others have totally been denied. Recently, I saw clips all over social media. I saw a press conference by our brothers and sisters who are called the Banyarwanda, expressing dissatisfaction, saying we are born here, we are Ugandans, our great-grandparents were here. When you go to this office and mention that I'm a Munyarwanda, then they tell you, go to, is it Citizenship electorate, do this, and all becomes a complicated issue. Now, joining me on set is the spokesperson of Ministry for Internal Affairs, and that is Monday Simon Peter. Once again, I'm happy to have you. Yeah. The last time we had you were live from Bali via phone, but now good, you're back and we are in studios.
Thank you very much, Robert. I'm glad to be here. Good morning, viewers.
Before I go any further, let's start on a lighter note. Recently, I had you're registering claims as an office of Ugandans being fleeced. You know, these people want to have DNA tests of their children to ascertain if they are their children or not. And they end up being conned. And in my mind, I was like, how does this happen? And how big is this problem?
Robert, Ugandans are very sharp people. When we started talking about these issues of DNA, the topic went viral everywhere, on social media, on TV, radio. So along the way, the demand to do DNA, especially by men, rose up. There was an exponential increase in the number of men doing DNA. Originally, of course, we had like a week, maybe 5, or even nothing. There was no reason for people to cut out DNA. But when we started talking about it, and when we did DNA on certain people, certain prominent people living and working in Kampala, and then they found that the children were not theirs, it tickled the minds of so many
men out there.
So everybody almost came out. We had very, very great numbers of men asking about it, the process, where to do it, and how to do it. So we had a big number. So because of this, some sharp Ugandans, especially around town, you know, these smart brokers, they wanted to make a killing out of it. First of all, they discovered that the issue of doing DNA is not something that is openly embraced by men. Nobody would want to be seen carrying children, taking them to our lab to do DNA. No, they discovered that men actually want to do it secretly. So because of that, they now approached these potential men and promised them how they are going to act as brokers, and then between them and the labs, they would come to you, Robert, and say, you know, you are not going to go and appear at our lab, then the cameraman will, because I'm meant to understand there are now pressmen standing near one day at the lab with cameras waiting for guys who go there to do DNA.
And with social media as well. We have so many on TikTok, bloggers and all that. They can easily spot you and give any information.
So because of that, now these guys would approach men who are suspicious of their wives and children, and then they would ask for money. If the test is $100 in one day, that is 360,000. So they would ask for double the fee. Then they would now ask them to go somewhere, and then they draw samples from the fathers and the children. They would even promise them that we are coming to your home to get samples from your home, and then we take to the lab, and then we shall bring results. And some men actually fell victim, so many. Because the last 2 weeks we have registered about 170. Yes, men. And these are big people.
170?
Yes, these are big people. These are politicians. These are people of high caliber in society. They are not the usual average men you find on the
Definitely, those are the ones who want to conceal. That how do I just imagine if I'm a permanent secretary of any government body, how do they see me with my children at the government analytical lab or at MBN laboratories, and I've gone there to do DNA for my children? In case I'm gotten on TikTok, I'm gotten any just...
Robert, you can't do it. You cannot...
So if someone promises me that they can collect samples from my children, I'll take them out maybe to have lunch or play, and this one picks samples from us,
quickly.
Then takes them to the analytical lab, and then tells me these are the results. 170.
And how would you even trust the results? First of all, you don't know, one, how to collect the sample, two, how to differentiate the sample, and three, how to manage the sample, and four, how to carry the sample. Because these guys are trained. You will end up confusing samples. The one for Chiravo, you will call it Simon. The one for Simon, you call it somebody else. So how are you going to be able
Simon,
to, you know?
Fraudsters, con men are smart.
They are very smart.
They can
I wonder how they come
they convince intelligent people, assumably.
Including members of parliament.
People.
Members of parliament. I have some members of parliament who have complained to me. They thought these guys work with us. So I tell these members, honorables, that please be very careful. These guys are out to make money. Don't fall victim. These guys are out to make money. They have lost money. One of them paid 2 million shillings. I can't mention names, but they know themselves. There are so many. They have complained. You go to Katwe, you find people have written on taxis. Have you done a DNA? You can do it in Kalerwe, you can do it in Natete, you can do it in Makinde, you can do it in Makerere, you know?
Yet government came up and certified too. That is the government analytical laboratory in Wandegea, our opposite public service.
Yeah.
Then MBN.
MBN in Nakasero.
In Nakasero. Those are the two.
Now, because of demand, because of the big demand, I have now added the third one of the police forensics lab.
That is Naguru.
Naguru, yes.
Oh, that is easy to move into.
But because of demand, demand has shot up. So because now numbers, people don't, we even started doing appointments because the numbers had
no,
shot
let me
up,
just
you know.
be honest with you. I think it was on Thursday. I wanted something from the government analytical lab. I was following up some story on crime.
Yes.
And it had body matching. You know, there's so much that happens there. Now, I met someone I know there, and he said, come, I show you. Said, you see all those? You know, there's that kafane bench of outside there where people sit. And yes, outside there. Because this is the laboratory, but it's like a raised veranda.
Yes.
Now there's a long bench, and I saw men seated there. They told me, no, those ones are for DNA.
The number is big.
And they all looked in wonder and in thought. And like, I'm not strong enough, I can never waste.
I have always warned men that if you don't have a strong heart, don't bother to do a DNA because you are going to collapse. People have collapsed. People have cried. People are running mad. You find somebody on the streets of Kampala talking to themselves.
Look what happened to this
Israel
nationalist who had to kill a woman.
If you find somebody in town, on Kampala Road, talking to themselves, kicking in the air, throwing hands in the air, or even shedding tears, don't beat. These are not mad people. These are victims of these DNA tests. These are men who had weak hearts, but now they decided to do a DNA. Please don't beat. If you find somebody talking to themselves, crying to themselves, and talking to nobody, kicking in the air, throwing hands in the air, please cancel that person. And it is the reason why this government analytical lab especially has people who cancel. Before you do a DNA, they ask you, they talk to you, do you really want to do it? Why do you want to do it? And in case you get will you control it? How will you manage it? And I tell you one thing. There are some people who came out to contest the results from our lab in Wandegea. And they would say, but are these machines of yours okay? But I want to look into the camera here and tell Ugandans that the machines we have in Wandegea at Government Analytical Lab are the best. They are the latest technology. They are very sensitive. They will give you credible results of high integrity. These guys who work there are top de la creme of society. These are guys who got the first joking a lot. It is the reason why you see...
And they know how sensitive this issue is.
They know there are men and women of very high integrity. You cannot contest. Those few who contested results from our lab, actually we advised them to do it with Germany, the birthplace of DNA. So they took samples to Germany, they took samples to Canada, others to South Africa. But I tell you what, they just confirm what Wandegea gives.
I know one who took Nairobi, but still it was the same.
Yes. So please trust that lab. But one important thing, if you want to do a DNA, please do it on a day-old kid. Why? It will save you two problems. One, this kid will have not yet developed a bond with you. You get it? If you discover it's not yours, you part ways with your wife in hospital. When they want
you find another solution.
You find another solution. Two, you will have not invested resources.
So much.
But you wait. Somebody is 30 years.
Then
You
why
have
do you
taken him
bother?
to. Why do you bother? You have taken them to school. You have developed a bond. This is your son. I tell you, I got issues. I spent almost a whole week without eating. I was feeling a lot of pain. This parent, I talked about somebody who brought 6 children, and we did a DNA, 6 children, and the results showed that none of those were his. There was no relationship. And these children, you would see, because they were in my office, they would do daddy, 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 all of them. The bond was so strong.
Yes.
They were in international school, one of the international schools here. They had a lot of love for their father, and the father loved them and came carrying this one here, another one here. This one is jumping on the back. This one is daddy everywhere. The environment was full of love. After the results, the man almost ran mad. Actually, because he works out, but he has never returned. He's here. We are monitoring. We got some counselors for him. There's even a bishop who offered to talk to him, you know, to preach some gospel that DNA did not start yesterday. It is not about to end. It has happened. People have had children who are not theirs. They have looked after them. So those people are trying to manage.
Well, we must end the DNA conversation
It will never
at
end.
that, but it is very unfortunate that in a week we have 170 men conned of huge sums of money.
These are not average men.
And not average men.
No, sir. Big people.
Big people.
With money, with status to protect. They don't want to.
Do things right. Avoid shortcuts. We know it is a hard thing. Go to the Government Analytical Lab, go to police headquarters in Naguru. They have forensic laboratory there. Go to MBN in Nakasero and have the DNA. Yourself, avoid brokers, avoid middlemen. Now, going back to the topic of the day this morning, the issue of passports. Government of Uganda went digital.
Yes.
And say to remove middlemen, to make things more efficient. Let's have things done in the digital manner to avoid so much contact of human to human. Let's have the machines solve some of these issues. But still people are expressing, one, hardships sometimes with the system, the online system, but also the challenge of this thing called interviewing. Interviewing. Someone says, I'm a Ugandan, what tribe am I? Muganda, what is your totem, your clan, do this, do that. Some of these people, these may not have been things they have grown up cherishing. I may be a Muganda, but I don't even know. If you ask me what is your clan, I could know my clan. What is your Mubara, I don't even know. Your lineage, I don't even know. You know? And they're saying, isn't it a bit archaic? This may not have been a solution, much as we expected, Simon.
Yeah, government of Uganda, in its wisdom, struggled to look for money, not very small money, billions and billions of shillings, to invest in technology, and which technology would make the lives of Ugandans easier. So they looked for money to. This system is very expensive, by the way. It's damn expensive. This electronic passport system, the online passport application system. It is not something that you go there and then pay 1 billion shilling and get. It's something that government heavily invested in. The reason why government invested all this money in this technology was twofold. One was to help Ugandans ease their life. You know, go here, go online, in your sitting room, in your bedroom, in your dining, in a taxi, in the office, and apply for a passport. Quite easily, to avoid brokers who have turned it into a habit of making money, fleecing people of who are looking for a passport. We abolished, because of this system, we abolished LC1, LC2 endorsement, LC3, DSO, and also RDC. All these were things that were complicating lives of applicants. So we did away with all this. We said, if you have a national ID, which, by the way, was gotten by going through all these, FC1, 2, 3, you can't get national ID without going through the process.
Criteria, yes.
So we said, why do we again repeat the same for passport? So we did away with it. That showed that we love Ugandans. That showed that government loves its citizens by making life easier for them. The second reason was to produce documents of very high quality and credible and also of high integrity. Something that will not be duplicated on Nasa Road, on Nkrumah Road, today, tomorrow, then you see they are forging these, you see the passports are in wrong hands. There was a time when the Chinese wrote to us that they had arrested the 80 Ugandans in China with drugs, and they were carrying our passports. And now China, you know the law, they were going to put them on on a Calabar. They were going to slaughter them. They were going to, on death,
hang them, yes.
They were going to be hanged. So, but before they could do that, they had to extend a hand of diplomacy. They had to contact us to go to China and identify the people, so that when these people die, we know that the so and so from here died. So when we went to China, I remember they took us to the prison facility in Beijing, and they opened these guys. All the names we saw were Vaganda names, Wachiganda names, Muanga, Chiwanuka, who and who. So what we did, for us to be able to identify, we were speaking Uganda. So the first one came, Chiwanuka Francis, hey, Sebo, Chevaleko, eh? Chevaleko, eh? Ovirawa, eh? Wolimuchi, eh? Wedirachi, eh? Okolachi, eh? Could not understand even one word. That one we disqualified, was a Nigerian. A second one called Mukasa something, over all those years Mukasa. Sebo, Jevaleko, Siviete, eh? Gwebakuitani, ah? Ovirawa, ah? You know, also that out of the 80, we only got 12 Ugandans. Out of the 80, we got 12. The rest were Nigerians carrying our passports, those old generation passports. So you see, they were choosing, as you know, between me and you, a Nigerian passport has been blacklisted in so many countries. Recently, you saw the passport ranking. Each time they discover somebody with drugs somewhere, your passport is rated downwards. If they discover Ugandans, for instance, are in China, are involved in dubious deals, your passport is rated downwards. If they find that there is no problem, and you have seen the recent rating has put our passport so high, now we can go to 67 countries without visa. We can present a passport, 67. You go there with your passport, no visa. You can go to Ireland, no visa. You can go to Malaysia, no visa. You can go to Hong Kong, no visa. Talks are on. We shall start going to South Africa without visa. I know those who have green, that is service passports, don't need visa to go to South Africa, and diplomatic passports. And very soon, we are going to, if the talks progress well, all Ugandans will be flying to South Africa visa-free, and so on and so forth. Now, for us to, why have I brought all of this history? The two things I'm talking about, one is the interview. Why do you interview people? Why do you bring, why is the system failing here and there? Interviews are very important for us to be able to identify these people who come to get passports wrongly. Somebody comes, even now, there's one at Ginger Road Police Station, was arrested a day before yesterday, I think. He's a Nigerian. They coach them, they are brokers out there, they coach them. When you reach there, they tell you, they ask you this, say this. They ask you this, say this. But they don't know that for us, we are trained. We know how to interview these people. And one question like this puts them off completely. And even the accent. And we're able to arrest this. So would you love to see our Ugandan passport in the wrong hands of those guys just by simply avoiding interview, or you would rather be inconvenienced with the 1, 2, 3 questions and get passports to write Ugandans? You wouldn't love that. So that, Robert, I wouldn't love you are going to, say, China, you have a Ugandan passport, you reach at the airport, then they isolate you, just simply because you are carrying a Ugandan passport. Would you love to see that?
Definitely not.
No, that is why we do interviews. One, interviews help us to identify who is a Ugandan and who is not a Ugandan. So, the question of people complaining about interviews, I think, is uncalled for. We shall do these interviews to be able to verify.
Now, here is the question that many are raising. If one has a national ID, that is clearly that he went through the LCs, went through all these checklists, the checklist you've talked about, DISO, FISO, PISO, YISO, whatever, maybe as required. And these are people who seemingly know this person more than men and women say at Ministry of Internal Affairs. And this person comes with a national ID. Then after these interviews, then this person is referred to the Directorate of Citizenship to ascertain if really this person is a Ugandan. Then that beats one's understanding.
Thank you, Robert. I will say something about national IDs. I am not going to blame management of national ID, but you remember we started issuing national IDs in 2014. Now, at that time, there was no national data bank where we would get information that Chirabo Robert is born here, has born on this date, has a mother here, like this, the father is also. We were starting from scratch. So whoever attempted to get a national ID actually got it. You would just go there. Actually, I remember 2014, I was part of the group that moved around the country during the regime of the late General Aronda Nyakairima as Minister of Internal Affairs. We were just actually pleading to people to register for national IDs. I remember going to Karamoja area and we appeared on a certain radio there. But people would call in and say, you know, you 7 people, you have come to take our cows. We are not coming. You are registering us, then after you are going to kill us and take our cows to Kampala. We know you are here for cows. So those were the callers now. Out of the 20, only one would accept. So we were just trying to plead to people to register. So whoever would make it to the registration desk would be a blessing. We would just register. So everybody registered. Whoever came there to register for national ID. Yet that is why you would find some Chinese had national IDs. Some Indian had national IDs. Now, as I talk now, because of this stringent passport verification system, we are able to identify these people who got national IDs fraudulently. We are withdrawing. And I can tell you we have withdrawn over 10,000 national IDs.
10,000?
10,000 national IDs in wrong hands. The national ID now, the process is much stricter than it was in 2014 when we were beginning, 2014, 2015. To get a national ID now, there is a due process where you have to go through, which was not at that time, because that time nobody wanted national ID. We were just pleading to people, please come and register. People would come, please register and we give you a national ID, it will help you. And back then, there was no requirement for national ID to open bank account, for instance, to transact land. It wasn't there. But now, we are managing to have people register willingly because it has now some conditions.
Definitely.
Without national ID, you can't acquire property. Without national ID, you can't open a bank account. So, right now, people are doing it. Back then, it was problematic. So you can't blame management of national ID that they issued. So that was then. That's why we did enforcement. We went to Wandega there. We got 12 Chinese because we were asking for work permit. But we said, no, me, Uganda, national ID. Me, Uganda. Because we confiscated all these. We have over 10,000. We have been handing them over to NIRA for management. So without carrying out proper verification through interviews, you will not be able to identify this. So not whoever is coming to immigration with a national ID is a Ugandan. No. There are those who got them fraudulently.
Okay.
That's why we are scrutinizing them. And we shall continue to do that.
Of course, I know a number who have also faced that challenge. They go to get a passport, even their ID is confiscated, and there is so much to investigate.
Yes.
But maybe this brings me also to who should get a passport, and how many maybe types of citizenship does someone have? Where do I draw this? We have, in our constitution, I stand to be corrected, but as of now, we have a tribe known as the Banyarwanda.
Yes, true.
These people have expressed concern that when they come to the immigration office to get passports and they get interviewed, when one mentions, I'm Munyarwanda, they tell them, no, you're not a Ugandan. Then they are taken to go through a certain process. Now, what qualifies me to be a Ugandan? And how many forms of citizenship can one fall under to enable them be viewed as Ugandans and even acquire a passport?
Thank you very much, Robert. It is an important question because right now there are people who are using this question of Banyarwanda to, one, fleece people, but two, to malign the name of immigration and indeed government. The problem we are having is a colonial one, I should say, but also our law is also problematic. Our law defines a citizen of Uganda as that person whose parents, both mother and father, are Ugandans, or one of those should be a Ugandan. If you have a father who is maybe a Kenyan and the mother is a Ugandan, we shall take you as a what? As a citizen.
Yes,
but
citizen.
Whether born here or out of here. So even if you are born in London, but your parents are Ugandans, we shall take you as a Ugandan. The law says if you are, even if you are born here, but both your parents, the father and mother, are non-Ugandans, you don't qualify to become a citizen of Uganda. Just because you are born here,
it doesn't
make you a Ugandan.
That is a good one.
Yes, it doesn't. You have got to apply for it. As opposed to countries like America, Canada. In America, whoever is born there becomes a citizen automatically. That is why you see certain ladies would get pregnant, then when they are about to give birth, then they would fly. We even 3 weeks ago, they gave us some statistics from the airlines. 16 of Ugandan ladies produced before landing at Washington, Dulles Airport. They were about, then one produced and another one gave birth, and those ones produced Americans. So long as you
in American space,
airspace of America, those
Simon,
became,
you're a very interesting
yes,
character.
they became Americans. they would ask when they landed, they took the children and the mothers to the hospital. Said, where was this? Where did you give birth? Then they asked the aircraft guys, even the pilot testifies. They say, when they gave birth, I was notified when we were about to land, we had already entered US. So, no doubt, they were given birth certificates and they were considered US citizens. Now, the same is not happening here. Our law is different, very different, and that is the problem. I really don't like it when we see some of these brothers and sisters of ours who were born here. They have never gone even to Rwanda. They don't know anything about Kigali. They don't know anything about it. They don't know even the language. They speak Uganda, they speak Lunyankole. They are born here. And everything has happened here. They have gone to school. They have done everything here. So for them to come to you, then you say, they ask you who is your father, so and so, Rwandese. What about your mother? Also, Rwandese. Then they say you are not I feel a lot of pain.
Yeah, that is the law.
Yes, it is bad. That's why you say the law is not helping out. We are actually doing a lot of research about this, and this law is going to change. So our brothers and sisters out there who belong to that category of people being denied passport, this will end.
But they believe, does the law clarify if my great-parents lived in Uganda for this period?
Now I am coming to these Banyarwanda who are in the constitution. Who are they? Banyarwanda in the constitution, the tribe which is in the constitution, came up during the time of demarcation of borders. And that was done in 1st Feb 1926. 1st Feb 1926. So when they were partitioning Africa, that's the time they partitioned Rwanda and Uganda. All those Banyarwandas who were found within Uganda at that time became Ugandans, but Banyarwanda tribe. You get it? In 1926, they came because we were all in one block. Then they put a boundary here. One boundary, this is Chirabo, now you are in Rwanda. This is Simon, now I'm in Uganda. But we are the same group of people. We are brothers. But the boundary passed here, it placed you that side, and also placed me this side. So me who remained in Uganda during that time of partition, I became a Mnyarwanda of Uganda.
Good, well explained.
In Uganda. So those are the ones who are in the constitution. Now when people come to passport office and supposing you are an immigration officer or a passport officer, and somebody comes to you and says, they ask you, what tribe are you? Because they have to interview anyway. Then you say, I am a Mnyarwanda. Do you think this officer would be right to just kneel down and give you a passport? Or would do some verification? Yes, verification. Back-end verification. Do you think it would be right? That's now where the problem is. These people come, when they say we are Banyarwanda, my father is a Mnyarwanda, my mother is Mnyarwanda.
But they have lived in Uganda.
They have lived in Uganda, and for them, problem is the law. They don't know this law that they think whoever is born here is automatically a Ugandan. But which we say, no. For as long as your parents are not Ugandan, you are not a straight Ugandan. You have got to go through certain processes to become one. And that is where the problem is.
So you refer them?
We refer them to a Department of Citizenship for them to apply for what we call naturalization. Citizenship by naturalization. This, what does it mean? It means that I'm born here, I have lived here. Although my parents are not Ugandans, I have done everything here. So I have nowhere to go. So the law provides that I can become a citizen of Uganda. So you bring you prove that you have gone to school here, that you are born here, that your parents came long time here, and we register you. You apply online and provide those documents. It doesn't take long. Now, when you tell some people who are born here like that go and apply for citizenship online, oh my God, they want to lynch you. And that is where the problem is.
So this neutralization process, does it look at, because my parents could be Banyarwanda who migrated from Rwanda, and maybe they have lived in Uganda for the last 50 years.
Yes.
But of course they were not around during the demarcation. Now, when I go, is it automatically that when you forward me to this directorate, I qualify and I'll...
You do qualify because they ask you for a few papers. They say, you say you were born here.
Bring
Where's
your
your birth certificate? You say you went to school here. I was born in Mulago. This is how birth notification is this. I was born in Chotara. This is this. And
I went to these schools.
Yes,
These are
and
my...
the records are there to show. It is easy. But problem is some few individuals who, first of all, they know the truth. That's those who know the law, but they want to confuse others. That's why they propagate that message. But the people who, because now they ask you to explain. If you explain your generation and it is found that by 1926 you were in Uganda, they give you a passport. We have those people. If both your parents were non-Ugandans, but in 1926 you were found in Uganda, you are a Munyarwanda of Uganda. Yes, not a Rwandan. You know, there's Banyarwanda, the tribe, not the Rwandan tribe. There are two issues here. There's the Banyarwanda tribe, which we have in our constitution, but we don't have the Rwandan or Rwandese tribe in the constitution. So the ones we are referring to are the ones of 1926 who were demarcated and found within the boundaries of Uganda. You see, colonialists brought us problems. You remember in eastern Uganda, we had a family of Agri-Award.
One a minister this side,
the one
the
was the vice president. Muda Award was the vice president in Kenya. This one was a minister in Uganda. But same father, same mother. They had they were border community people. Those who were, I think, born in the other, you find a place. Sometimes the bedroom is in Kenya, one bedroom. The other bedroom is in Uganda. The sitting room is on no man's land. So the ones of the mother of the other side are Kenyan, the ones of the are Ugandan.
Very interesting thing.
Yeah.
Well, time is flying so much, but thank you for making that clarification. Like you rightly said, it had been making rounds on various media platforms, and in one way or the other, we were asking what is happening with the immigration department. Now, in the interest of time, as we look at acquiring a passport, you've rightly explained the issue of citizenship and how it is very vital. But then we still have issues of costs. Briefly, ordinary, then express. What are the costs? This is where exploitation has also happened.
Thank you. We have, of course, variously talked about passport acquisition. How do you acquire a passport? Let me briefly go through the process.
Yeah.
One, you go online. If you're Ugandan, you have national ID, and you truly know that you're Ugandan, wherever you are, whether at home, whether in office, even if you are sick in a hospital, and you have some energy to go on the phone, go to www.passports.go.ug. When you reach there, it will bring a form. Very easy to talk about you. Name, date of birth, your father, your mother. Fill in. Those are basics. Then after that, the system will give you a number known as Payment Reference Number, PRN. This number is generated by Uganda Revenue Authority. The two systems are interlinked. Passport system and URA, they are together, plus NIRA. So you want, then the system, when you reach there, it gives you that PRN number, which you use to pay for passport. You can use mobile money. You go to the bank with that PRN number and pay. After payment, come back to the system, www.passports.go.ug, and then you are able to schedule appointment online. Very easy. You have not asked anybody, nothing. Then the system will display a calendar. Days that are not free. Then for you, according to your program or convenience, you choose a day. You click on it, then you print the appointment. It will give you the date and time of appointment. Ordinary passport is paid for at 200 50,000. I do not see the reason why I should add even 100 shillings. Very easy. Then we have express, ordinary, but express. They call it express passport. It is an ordinary passport.
So ordinary takes how long?
Ordinary takes 2 weeks. These are 10 days.
Then express?
Express is 3 days.
Okay.
And the passport. So for you to be able to pay for express, you add 150,000 express service fees, so that you don't wait for you. You have a problem. You are Mr. Chirabo. You work with UBC. You are a very busy man. You don't have to go and wait for with this man from China Mukaka who doesn't have the. For you have 400. Go and pay, and it will give you the day's appointment. To say appointment is ready. You go there. They work on you. When you reach there, just enjoying life, they tell you there's
VIP
a special
treatment.
VIP, yes, this is a place where you sit. This is very well organized. There is a TV, there is a coffee. You sit, you wait for your time. They call you, they usher you in the office. They work on you. Very, very happy there. And then sometimes before you reach home, the message has come that your passport is ready.
Okay.
And you will be able to get your passport quickly. Then we have, of course, service passport. These are passports for MPs, heads of government departments like commissioners. We have other people, that middle class people. They pay for them 400,000. Then they are green in color. Then we have diplomatic passports. These are red. These are for top class. These are presidents. These are ministers. These are heads of cultural institutions recognized. Kabaka, Chawazinga, you know, all those. Then we have
religious leaders?
Religious leaders, heads. The Catholic head, the Protestant, all those are for. Then we have permanent secretaries. Then we have ambassadors. All those get diplomatic passports. Foreign service officers, officers who work outside in embassies. They all get diplomatic passports. Then we have also these, we call them chairpersons of permanent commissions. Permanent commissions like Electoral Commission, Amnesty Commission, Health Service Commission, Education Service Commission, Public Service Commission. Chairpersons get diplomatic passports. Now, the members get service passports. Chairpersons are for diplomatic, then the members get...
so what is the fee of that? We must move out of here.
That one is 500,000.
Okay.
It's a little money. We expect that these people have some money to spend. So once you pay that, I want to call upon Ugandans who are looking at us out there not to involve third parties in the business of applying for passport, because it is very easy and friendly. The system is actually user-friendly, and we have made it easy. Well, that's why we don't have lines now. If you come to immigration, no lines.
Simon, it's been a pleasure having you, and of course our viewer. Thank you so much for being with us from 6:30 till now. Now, a humble reminder, every weekday we start at 6:30 with Good Morning Uganda, and later have an extension of Good Morning Uganda Extra. I'm very excited and ready to have you tomorrow morning. Keep it with us here on UBC. So much is coming your way. Very informative, very interesting. We set the agenda and we ensure that we build this country through values. Just in case you're on the road, don't forget accidents kill, speed kills. So be mindful of yourself and other road users. God bless you. See you tomorrow.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala.